What if a simple car breakdown changed two lives forever? The autumn sun hung low over Bradley's auto repair, casting golden light across the garage. Ethan Bradley wiped his hands on a rag and stepped back to admire his work. The vintage Mustang purred like a contented cat. He was 32 years old, with brown hair that never quite stayed in place, and a build shaped by years of hard work. His gray shirt and tan overalls were stained with oil, but he wore them with the same confidence some men wore expensive suits. Ethan owned this garage. It was not much, but it was his. He had bought it 5 years ago with money saved from working 2 jobs. Now he employed 3 other mechanics, and made enough to live comfortably. Not wealthy, but content. The bell above the door chimed. Ethan looked up to see a woman entering. She had blonde hair that caught the afternoon light, and wore a cream silk blouse tucked into burgundy pants. She looked expensive, totally out of place among the tire racks and tool chests. "Can I help you?" Ethan asked, wiping his hands again. The woman smiled. "I hope so," she said. "My car broke down about a mile from here." Her voice was refined, but not unkind. "What kind of car?" "A Tesla Model S." Ethan nodded. "Let me grab my truck and we'll take a look." 20 minutes later, they were standing beside her disabled car on the shoulder of the highway. Ethan ran diagnostics while the woman, whose name he learned was Victoria, watched. "The battery system has failed," Ethan explained. "I can tow it to my shop, but the part will take 3 days to arrive." Victoria sighed. "Of course it will." "I am sorry," Ethan said. "If you need a loaner, I have an old Honda you can use." "That is very kind," Victoria said. "Thank you." As they drove back to the garage, Victoria asked questions about his business, about the town, about his life. Ethan found himself talking more than he usually did with customers. There was something about her that felt real, despite the expensive clothes. When they arrived back at the garage, Victoria hesitated. "Can I ask you something?" she said, something a bit unusual. "Sure." Victoria took a breath. "I have a family reunion this weekend," she said, "at my parents' estate upstate. My family is very traditional, and they have been pressuring me about not being married." She looked embarrassed. "I know this sounds crazy, but would you consider being my date for the weekend?" But here's the twist that left him speechless. Ethan blinked. "Your date?" "I would pay you, of course," Victoria said quickly. $5,000 for 2 days. Just attend some dinners and events with me. Help me avoid the constant questions about my personal life." Ethan studied her. $5,000 would cover the new lift he needed for the garage. "Why me?" he asked. "You do not know me." "Exactly," Victoria said. "You are real. Everyone in my world is so polished and fake. You are different." Ethan thought about it. It seemed crazy. But something about her desperation felt honest. "Okay," he said. "I will do it." Victoria's face lit up. "Really? Really? But I do not have clothes for fancy events." "I will take care of that," Victoria promised. The next day, Victoria returned with garment bags. Inside were suits that fit Ethan perfectly. "How did you know my size?" he asked. "I am good at guessing," Victoria said with a smile. That Friday afternoon, they drove upstate in a rental car. Victoria was quiet at first. Then she started talking. "I should tell you the truth," she said, "about who I am." "Okay. My full name is Victoria Ashford. I am the CEO of Ashford Industries." Ethan nearly swerved. "The tech company?" "Yes. You are worth like $1 billion. Closer to 2 billion actually," Victoria said. "But who is counting?" Ethan pulled over. "Why did you not tell me this before?" "Because I wanted you to agree to come," Victoria said, "not because of who I am, but because of who you are. Most people treat me differently when they know. They want something, or they are intimidated. You just treated me like a person." Ethan understood that. "Okay," he said, "but you need to tell me what I am walking into." Victoria explained her family was old money, very traditional. They expected her to marry someone from their social circle. She had been engaged once to a man her parents approved of, but he only wanted her money and status. She broke it off and threw herself into work. Now at 30, her family considered her a failure because she wasn't married. They do not care that I run a billion-dollar company, Victoria said. They care that I am not married. That is ridiculous, Ethan said. I know, Victoria agreed. But it is my family. They arrived at the estate just before dinner. The house was enormous, more like a castle than a home. Inside, everything gleamed. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, priceless art. Ethan felt completely out of his depth. Victoria took his hand. Just be yourself, she whispered. That is all I need. Dinner that night was formal. 20 family members seated at a long table. Victoria's father, Richard, sat at the head. A stern man with silver hair. Her mother, Margaret, was elegant and cold. They looked at Ethan with clear doubt. So, Ethan, Richard said, what do you do? I own an auto repair shop, Ethan said. The table went quiet. How quaint, Margaret said with a fake smile. Victoria's jaw tightened. Ethan is an excellent mechanic, she said, and a successful business owner. I am sure he is, dear, Margaret said. But is he really suitable for someone in your position? Ethan felt anger rise, but Victoria squeezed his hand under the table. After dinner, Victoria's cousin Brandon cornered them. He was everything Ethan expected. Expensive suit, perfect hair, fake smile. So you are dating the help now, Victoria? Brandon said. Ethan is my guest, Victoria said coldly. Shows some respect. Oh, come on, Brandon laughed. We all know you brought him to make a point. What point would that be? Ethan asked, his voice calm but strong. Brandon looked surprised that Ethan spoke. That you are rebelling against your family, Brandon said, by dating someone completely unsuitable. Ethan stepped closer. Let me tell you what is unsuitable, he said quietly. Treating people like they are less because they work with their hands. Measuring worth by money instead of character. Looking down on honest work. I may not have your money, Ethan said, but I have something you do not. What is that? Self-respect, Ethan said. He took Victoria's hand. Excuse us. They walked out to the garden. Victoria was quiet. Then she started laughing. That was incredible, she said. I am sorry, Ethan said. I should not have lost my temper. Are you kidding? Victoria said. That was the best thing anyone has ever done for me. No one has ever defended me like that. They should, Ethan said. You deserve better than how they treat you. Victoria's eyes glistened. You really think that? I know that, Ethan said. Something shifted between them in that moment. And what happened next changed everything. The next day, there was a garden party. More relatives, more judgment. But Ethan noticed something. Victoria held her head higher. She smiled more. She stopped saying sorry for who she was. That evening, as they dressed for dinner, Victoria came to Ethan's room. I need to tell you something, she said. What? This weekend, Victoria said, it stopped being pretend for me. Ethan's heart raced. For me, too. Victoria stepped closer. I know we come from different worlds, she said. But I do not care about that anymore. I care about how I feel when I am with you. How do you feel? Ethan asked. Like I can breathe, Victoria said. Like I do not have to be perfect. Like I am enough. Ethan touched her face. You are more than enough. He kissed her, soft and real. At dinner that night, Victoria stood. I have an announcement, she said. The table quieted. Ethan and I are together, Victoria said. And before anyone objects, I want you to understand something. She looked at her parents. I have spent my whole life trying to meet your expectations. I built a company. I made billions. But it was never enough because I was not married to the right person. Well, I am done caring about that. Ethan treats me with more respect in one conversation than most men in our circle show in a lifetime. He values hard work and honesty. He makes me laugh. He makes me happy. She took Ethan's hand. And if that is not good enough for this family, then maybe this family is not good enough for me. The table exploded. Some looked shocked, others angry. But Victoria's grandmother stood. She was 92 and everyone listened. Sit down, all of you, she said. Everyone obeyed. The grandmother walked to Ethan. Let me see your hands, young man. Ethan held them out. Calloused and scarred from years of work. The grandmother looked closely. These are honest hands, she said. Hands that create, fix, and build. My husband had hands like these. He was a carpenter before he made his fortune. We have forgotten where we came from. She turned to Victoria. If this man makes you happy, then you have my blessing. Victoria hugged her grandmother. After dinner, Ethan and Victoria walked the grounds. That was brave, Ethan said, what you did. I learned it from you, Victoria said. You were not afraid to be yourself. Even when everyone was judging you. You showed me that being real is more important than being approved of. She stopped walking. I do not want this weekend to end, she said. It does not have to, Ethan said. 6 months later, Victoria stepped down as CEO. She stayed chairman, but hired someone else to run the company daily. She moved to Ethan's town, bought a small house near his garage, started a foundation to help young entrepreneurs. Ethan expanded his garage, hired more staff, spent more time doing the work he loved. They got married a year later, not at the estate, but in Ethan's garage. With mechanics, neighbors, and the family who supported them. Victoria's grandmother was there. She gave the toast. Real love, she said, does not ask you to be something you are not. It celebrates who you are. Victoria looked at Ethan, the man who agreed to a fake date, and became her real partner. Thank you, she said, for seeing me. Thank you, Ethan replied, for choosing what is real. Sometimes the best relationships start with pretending. Sometimes a broken-down car leads to something beautiful. And sometimes the person from a completely different world turns out to be exactly who you needed all along.